Thank you very much. You should really wait until the end before you give too much applause. Anyway, Gerhard Bader, Yorizon, Michael. I'm the one talking about, roughly about the next 30 minutes, let's see. So we're the last one before lunch, so we try to give you kind of a head start. We'll talk about who we are, what we're doing, so that you get kind of an idea what we're talking about. And he's the one knowing what we're doing in detail. So all your deep technical questions or even high-level technical questions, he should be able to answer. So thank you very much for joining us and your time. And let's start. Feel free to interrupt us if you have any questions.
No, we do the question and answers later.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do not interrupt me if you have questions. Okay. Short agenda, as I mentioned already. Who we are, what we're doing, where we are today, and some strange technical details around our topic. By the way, we're talking about data centers. And there are two companies, HOCHTIEF, it's kind of a daughter company, PPP Solutions, but I think you might know HOCHTIEF. Another investor, Thomas-Krenn, also quite well-known company in Germany. Both of them founded a joint venture called Yorizon. And don't worry, I will not dive deep into vision, mission. It's just about edge data center we're talking about. Edge means smaller ones, roughly around 2 megawatt. We can even double the capacity, can show you later. And we try to be as local as possible across Germany in the beginning. Afterwards, somewhere in my slides is a map where you can kind of see more details. But we start in Germany, but it's focused on Europe and only Europe. And kind of a difference, OpenStack based, but you know what that means in more details. Again, don't worry, not too much details. Just the main 3 policies, topics, main goals we try to achieve. We want to reduce energy consumption. So we try to get about 40%. Of course, since we're starting, it might be a process, but our goal is to have at least 40% less energy consumption. And on the other hand, we try to use the heat we produce to deliver to local heat distribution and other companies. So roughly around 80% is the goal. For sure, we're not there yet, but pretty close already. And what we already achieved, we built those data centers smaller. How does it look like? It's kind of a rendering, of course, but it really looks like that. Heiligenhaus, so I think it's not that far away from here. No. It's already somewhere near to Heiligenhaus. You can see on the right-hand side the white space on the first floor. That's roughly around 2 megawatt white space, and we can double the capacity. The meaning of on the left-hand side, we can just build another one in a pretty easy way. And that's the idea. You can see it on the screen somewhere, I think. It's kind of a modular concept. So those data centers are, it's not a single blueprint, it's kind of 1,000 to 2,000 different blueprints. But HOCHTIEF is building those data centers, running those data centers. Thomas-Krenn deliver the hardware we need, and Yorizon developed parts of the software, put some open source, OpenStack components together and some others. We designed and built the whole data center network. We could see that we need kind of an outside connectivity, provider connectivity that's pretty helpful when you have a data center. So we build up a backbone with all the provider connections and some more stuff, certifications, you know, everything you need around it is part of the Yorizon company. What makes it different from a technical perspective, not that exciting, but it's made of wood. What kind of was challenging or interesting to get certification for a completely made of wood data center. To be honest, Jesus, what is the English term? The basement of the building is still made of concrete, but it's just one single piece made of concrete. All the other parts are made of wood, pre-constructed wooden parts. Wood from Austria still. Let's see when we start with more data centers if we can keep it like that. And of course, I already mentioned it, we try to deliver heat back. We support only water cooling and delivering that water, that heated water to local heat distribution companies. We have a public swimming pool, is not the right English word, but I think you know what I mean. Is one of our customers, some apartments, yeah, things like that. And it's a closed heating circuit, which means we do not add water, we do not waste water. That's the idea behind. Any questions so far? Oh, sorry, I'm not allowed to ask. Forget it. No questions. Let's dive deeper into the. By the way, we even have strawberries on the roof. That's pretty cool. So if data center doesn't work, we can change to farming industry. So yeah, I think you would be the better one to explain, but I'll give you an overview. So there is the building. Water cooled already mentioned from Thomas-Krenn, server, storage, whatever you need. We have OpenStack-based hypervisors. We support other hypervisors, by the way, as well. But the main focus we have with the open source, with the OpenStack environment. We try to get 100% green energy, of course. We even have cooperation with local wind parks, for example, where we can get the energy we need, and if it's available directly. But again, pretty close to 100% already. And again, we try at least 80% of the energy we put into the data center, we should get out of it for some useful matters. And all around that, we have the common data center products. But I think it's better I hand it over to you so far. When we're at that point. Also, just to give an idea, I think most of you will know, infrastructure as a service is the main topic for now. First step, manage Kubernetes as far as understood. Again, in first step already available. We are on the way to finish the storage topics. S3, of course, but some other possibilities. GPU is already under testing, kind of GPU as a service and some other products around it. And last but not least, all those common services and products will follow up in the next couple of months. To give you an idea where we are, we opened Heiligenhaus a month ago. Yeah, quite some time. One is already open in Heiligenhaus. We have started to build another one, which is, the building is already almost finished. Bad Lippspringe, I think, if somebody knows. And the third one will start soon. So 2026, we will have 3 data centers made of wood and 1 proof of concept staging environment close to Vienna. And the actual goal is to have at least 15, mainly in Germany, but as well as in surroundings. So that should be the first step, or that's the first investment. Yeah. Yeah, not so bad when I look at the time. That's the end of the first part. Should we try questions? Yeah.
No questions allowed.
Michael, it's your part. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. As you said, I'm Michael. Because there might be some confusion. I'm not really Yorizon, and then I am Yorizon. So I joined the Yorizon team about 6 months ago. Some would say the longest 6 months of my life. And in my off times, when I'm not Yorizon, I'm running a company that's called artcodix and does pretty much exactly what Yorizon does, but doesn't build their own data centers, but instead runs on data centers that are already there and work just fine for us. We've built the first sovereign cloud stack, public cloud, I think 2 years now, 2 years ago. It's still running. We have 2 regions running right now. And 6 months ago, Gerhard and his team approached me and were like, okay, we have some difficulties to bring everything together, and can you help us? So I was like, okay, let's look at it. Little did I know how far this all would go. And yeah, today I'm the delivery consultant for the team. The team that I'm working with really gives my team at artcodix a run for best team in the world. So I'm actually very grateful that I'm allowed to talk here, even though I'm not specifically Yorizon, which some people tend to say a lot. So what is it built on? From the technical perspective, no idea how many of you are into buildings. I'm more into software. I have no idea how to build a building. Actually, I have like 2 left feet for hands, so I can really do absolutely nothing when it comes to build something. But I know my ways around software. So this is a definitely incomplete slide with some logos on it that should give you an idea on how many people, how many companies, and how many technologies are involved. First and foremost, though, the technologies that are relevant here is most of the stuff is open source stuff that's under the hood. Why is that? Because we want to build a sovereign cloud. It's not that kind of sovereign cloud that AWS uses, like the flag, oh, this is sovereign. No, this is actually open source, built on sovereign technology and capable of hosting sovereign workloads in data protection, GDPR, everything allowed. Right, so you can see Keycloak, OpenStack, Ceph, Kubernetes, Sonic. I think most of you, at least if you have some insight into the world of cloud technologies and open source, will know these names. And we are trying to bring all of this together. And then there is some companies, as you can see, you can spot mine. It's the little one, the little orange one is artcodix. And then, inside, Darius, who do lots of integration. Thomas-Krenn is on there, HOCHTIEF. Technologies from the Alaska guys, and then the sovereign cloud stack, all of these things are in there. So how do we actually do this? If you think about like me and my small company, we are like 10 people, and we've built a cloud that doesn't quite rival Yorizon's, but it works, and it's there, it's on the market. We did things a little different. We got there and said, okay, we need some service, we need a co-location space, we need some cabling, we need some network, we need some software that runs on top of the service, and then we need to bring this all to the market. So we sat down, we did it, a team of 3 to 5 guys, took us 6 months, and then we delivered it. That's all fun and games. When I got to Yorizon, that changed a little, because when I got there and said, okay, this is how we do it, then they said, okay, here is 21 technology partners you can talk to, and no, you cannot buy the service that you want, you cannot buy the cabling that you want, and by the way, you can't do the cabling yourself. This is one of the technology partners that does the cabling, and then there's another technology partner that actually builds the cloud fabric, and yes, there is another technology partner that runs the firewalls, and no, you can't have firewall rules, you need to request them through us. So it changed a lot. These 21 partners are constantly iterating and integrating with each other. Of course, everybody is just looking left and right, but we as a team have to look over all 21 of them and make sure in the end it works. So it really goes from the Thomas-Krenn, like from the HOCHTIEF building to the Thomas-Krenn service, into the cabling, and then open source software atop. The other thing that changed, for me, I was actually quite proud of my company when we opened the second cloud region. This is a bit different here. Scale-out is built into the plan. And scale-out not as in this is like 10, 20 servers, and then there's eventually going to be 100. Like the first data center is already roughly 300, 400, 500 servers, and that's only the first data center. We by now know we want to build 15. So it's not like, yeah, let's build some servers, let's see if that all runs. We have to sit down and from the get-go realize, okay, what happens if we have thousands, multiple thousands of servers interconnected to each other and have a cloud that runs all of this? So scale-out is just a given. It's not an option. We need that. And that's the thing why I am here, why I strongly believe in this whole program and why I pour so much energy in there is this is all facilitating open source community work, which I think is incredible. If you have this kind of undertaking and you have this kind of money especially, it wouldn't be a big deal to say, okay, let's build it on our own. Let's build it closed source, let's do our stuff, let's not let others into our secrets. We will have some secrecy and people will, realize that they can work with us, but they don't have any insight into this. Luckily for, I think, all of the open source community, that's not what happens. What happens is somebody decided that it's good to have an open source community, open source technology, and actually go full actual sovereign with this. So what are the biggest challenges that come with these things? As I've said, if you build scale out into your business idea, it's very interesting to not sit down and have like 2 or 3 servers and then you test it and then you say, okay, this is running, add another 10 servers. You actually have a point in time where people come and say, like, oh, we have found the next spot where we build the next data center. And it's the 4th one. And you go like, okay, let's check that out on the map. How can we do this? Then you have some like BSI requirements on what is allowed, like how far do these data centers have to be, like how big does the distance have to be, so you actually get like BSI certification for multiple regions, and then all of a sudden you realize, okay, this is not how this goes, like these are too close to each other, so we need to build availability zones, we can't build cloud regions. But then if we have 2 availability zones, that really doesn't help anybody if you want multiple cloud regions. So maybe it makes sense when the guys who do the building and like all the choosing of construction sites talk to the software guys, because the software guys are the ones that tell them, like, this is what we need for certification. And you run along these challenges, why would they talk to each other? Like, there's no real interface between them, but it makes sense that they talk to each other. It makes sense that you don't buy any construction sites, any sites where you build your data centers, if that would be availability zone number 4, because nobody needs availability zone number 4, but people desperately need more regions. Then you have these things that you realize on the way, but also, I've said my team took 6 months to do this in a very small scale. Guess what? Yorizon thinks that's a good idea to do the same thing, like with multiple data centers, but 6 months feels like a fair timeline, right? Well, luckily for us, building usually doesn't go this quickly, so we have a little more time. But as we've heard, like the first data center is built, it's there, it's opened, we can use it. Second one, we've seen, it's like almost done, and the third one is planned. It's not like this gives us a lot of time and a lot of wiggle room. So you need to build this scale-out system based on open technology within months. It's not years. It's not AWS that took some time and iterated year after year for 10, 15, 20 years. We need to build this with a very, very strict timeline. And then, because sovereignty is the reason why we do this, it's not only bringing the building and the software and everything together and then find the right spots, have a very, very close timeline. No, it's not only that. We also want to be actually sovereign certifiable, which means by the sovereign cloud stack. I don't know if you all have heard about that. It's a project that came out of the Gaia X initiative from Europe that got funded by the Sprint, I think, like by a public entity in Germany, ran for almost 3 years. The main initiators, I think, were Kurt Garloff and Felix Kronlage-Dammers, if some of you know them. I very much look up to these guys. They've done a really, really great job. And by now, it's fully community-driven. There's a forum that agrees on the standards, that moves these standards forward, makes them actually certifiable. We had a summit where we were attending as well this year, where artcodix got certified as one of the first public clouds, and I really hope on the next summit, which is coming up 2026, we will have Yorizon on that stage as well. So it is all going to be compliant, but what does compliance mean? It means you have to have a very strict technology stack, so you need to have OpenStack on that. You need to have certain flavors on that. You need to have certain images on that. Why is that? Because if somebody, for some reason, doesn't like my company anymore, or my cloud, or my service, then it should be fairly easy to take that and move to another cloud. That's the whole idea. So the idea behind the sovereign cloud stack was never like build that one European superb hyperscaler, but it was create some standards and give everybody a chance to build clouds for these standards, and then you potentially, as people that work with these clouds, you can choose whom to work with, but also you can integrate multiple clouds that all just work the same into one of your stacks, and that's kind of mimicking your hyperscaler. So we need to build this as well. The question is, what does this look like right now? You can see our beautiful portal here. Little disclaimer, I've not been involved with that. That's a very good friend of mine now and colleague, which is Philip. He has done most of this work, so I'm not claiming this. But I think it looks amazing by now. Excuse the test data and everything. We are not yet live. You cannot actually use it, but we've given our best to put something together. Also, you can see there's still some grayed out slots on the bottom left. We're still iterating, and this is, I would say by now, probably 2 or 3 months old, this slide. So this is what it's looking like. This is what it's going to look like for you. Some of you in the room, the more technical people, will then maybe have the question, how does it really look like? And when I say really look like, what I mean is, how does it, like, from a technology standpoint, look like? Short trigger warning, you're not supposed to be able to read the next slide. So this is what it actually looks like. This is the reason why I'm pouring my energy in for 6 months now, and I don't know how long this will go on until I actually, like, my brain is going to explode. Again, you're not supposed to read this. What I'm trying to showcase here is, this is every one of these little boxes is some kind of architectural piece that we actually need to deliver the service. So if I said scale out is built in, I didn't only mean like you want to buy service. You know, you want to build data centers. No, you want to build your system in such a way that it can actually handle all the stuff that is put onto these servers, all the customers that are running their stuff. So if you want to actually read something and you want to have a bit of a narrower picture of how that could look like, then probably the best I can come up with is this. There is a box somewhere over there, I'm sorry camera, I'll have to move, which says OSISM, which is pretty much OpenStack and everything OpenStack related. Then you have a box that says U-accounting, U-view, those things are stuff that actually is customer facing. So you wouldn't think, but if you run OpenStack, it's not like you can just build people for the services. Especially not if you have a lot of regions, a lot of availability zones. So you need some kind of software that does the accounting for that. And then, of course, there is software that does the invoicing for this. And if you want to have all this data aggregated, you need some kind of system API. And so that the user actually can use all of this, you need a portal. And then the portal is connected to your marketing stuff. It's connected to your user base. And yes, you will spot something on there that says HubSpot, for example. And yes, we are still sovereign, I can assure you. And no, we are not very happy that we need to use some of the software. But again, if you build something of that scale, this is what you have to do. It's not like you can build everything from scratch if somebody goes up to you and says you got 6 months. So eventually, maybe, we will swap that out. What I tried to do here is I wanted to showcase what are we doing, how does this work, how is all the technology integrating with each other, and to set the stage for you to address us, if you want, afterwards, and come up with all the questions that you might have. Or, if we have some time left, I hope there's some minutes left, you can bring up these questions right now. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Gerhard. Thank you, Michael, for your talk. We do have at least time for maybe 2 questions, if they're not too long. Do we have anything in Venulus? No? Great. Anyone in the room has a question?
Or lunch. Okay.
Thank you. It was a great presentation, but I'm totally overwhelmed about what are you precisely selling to me? I've seen some concrete parts, some buildings. I've seen some internal cloud parts, yes. Keycloak, and so on. Are you leasing the buildings or the infrastructure, or are you selling me a data center? What are you selling us?
Whatever you're looking for. No, infrastructure as a service. So you create your VMs and you rent your storage from us and all the services we offer, like all the other data centers. Beside that, you can really get the whole data center from us. So if you're interested and you have about 10,000 square meters of free area, we can fully build it up since we have the whole chain under control, let's say. Main business infrastructure as a service.
Okay, one last question.
Sorry.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask the last question. I was wondering what the criteria would be where you would place your data centers. As I understand, renewable energy is only an 80% factor. Is it mainly the BSI standards, or is it where customers basically request a data center to exist? Thank you. My name is Malte, actually. I'm with the Bader Bank.
Right. I think so to state all of the factors that come into choosing a location would probably take just as long as we've just given a talk about. So there is lots and lots of stuff involved. Some things are, for example, if you want to get your heat to somewhere, then you will have a community that's actually willing to take that heat and actually accept it and have something to heat it with. Then, of course, you need some power supply. In modern times, it's not as easy as you might think. Like, you're not plugging the data center in and then it just goes. Like, even if you have like 2 megawatts, then you will have to have a community that says, okay, we're actually willing to provide the infrastructure to yield that power. Of course, you have the BSI stuff that says, okay, it doesn't make sense if you put 10 data centers in the range of 50 kilometers, because if somebody bombs the area, then everything's gone. And please don't get me wrong, I don't want anybody to bomb anything, but that's how these standards work. And there is countless more. Then, you know, can you even buy it? What's the price on the property? What's next to the property? And also, since it's an edge data center, do we find some kind of anchor customer in that area that actually wants this? Or do we think it fits our own cloud strategy? So it's really not like somebody points to the map and says, this is where we want a data center. It's lots and lots of iteration and trying to find these points.
But we've prepared kind of a checklist, so if you're interested in or you have some connections, it's pretty easy to get the information in the summary and start the conversation.
Okay, thank you very much. If you have further questions, now you know how they look like. Find them in the breaks. Have fun, enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.